devoted family member and a loyal friend. A very good evening to you once again. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Belinda Phillips. Tonight, President William Ruto and top security officials are on the spot over the recent cases of abductions and suspected extrajudicial killings in the country. This follows the discovery of Justice Musyimi and Martin Mwau's bodies over a month after they went missing in Mlolongo, Machakos County. Chief Justice Martha Koome has called for an end to abductions and urged those involved to adhere to the rule of law. Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi and National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula have equally condemned the vice and called for the establishment of a commission of inquiry.
For the second day, families of Martin Mwau, Stephen Kavingo and Kalani Muema camped at the Nairobi funeral home. Mwau's family was at the morgue to view the body of their kin a day after they received information the body had been recovered and was lying at Nairobi funeral home.
Tumekuja hapa situ mochari, tumeona vile yako kwa kuona kwetu, yani hatuwezi eleza yani jinsi alipigwa ama aliuawa kwa njia gani, tumanake mwili haiko hali sawa kabisa. Tunaomba serikali at least iangalie mazirai yetu na haki itendeke.
As for Muema and Kavingo's families, their presence at the morgue was to check whether their loved ones could be among the hundreds of unidentified bodies, a process the workers at the facility said could take a day or two, and advised the families to come back on Saturday. Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi, who consoled Mwau's family at Nairobi funeral home, hit out at the government for failing to address the unending abductions and extrajudicial killings in the country.
Mr. President, I'm calling upon you now to order an end to these abductions, which you promised, killings, extrajudicial killings, and an open inquiry to examine, inquire into how these things have been happening. We cannot make it normal. We know that these are very young lives that have been taken away.
We want the minister in charge of Interior to tell us what is the policy of a thing like this. We want him to tell us, and the president to tell us, how can people who are handcuffed, people with guns, people who are hooded, people moving around with the fake number plates, can be allowed by police to do this?
Muturi wants government to stop everything and shift attention to resolving a situation he describes as a calamity.
We sit somewhere claiming that we are discussing matters about the economy of this country. Economy for who? If we are killing them, abducting and killing the young ones, so who are you doing the economy for? This matter needs to be taken with the seriousness that it deserves.
Chief Justice Martha Koome and National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula have weighed in on the matter, condemning cases of abductions and calling for respect for the rule of law.
These people being abducted, if they are suspected of even committing the worst crime, murder or terrorism, though they should be brought to court and charged. They should not be held incommunicado.
The police say they are not the ones doing it. We want them to investigate and tell Kenyans who are these criminal elements in our midst, who are unlawfully arresting people, causing their disappearance, and eventually they are found dead.
NARC Kenya Party leader Martha Karua has equally condemned the abductions. In a statement, Karua called out the Inspector General of Police and DCI Director Mohamed Amin for claiming they know nothing about the abductions. Karua has proposed a national civil society conference to chart a way forward to tackle what she describes as an epidemic, which threatens to consume the nation. A hearing of the case of abductions of Stephen Kavingo and Kelvin Mudhoni before High Court was on Friday adjourned to February 14th to allow counsels representing Mudhoni provide court with details regarding his disappearance. Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
The IEBC selection panel is tonight promising Kenyans that they will hire a new electoral team in 85 days. In a lengthy closed-door meeting, the panel laid down its timelines and will on Saturday invite applications from qualified Kenyans for the position of chairperson and members of the IEBC. And as Stephen Letor reports, the IEBC Secretariat, however, says even with the new IEBC team in place, review of boundaries before the next general election will be a tall order.
It is a race against time as the IEBC selection panel sets the balls rolling. The IEBC selection panel that held its inaugural meeting for the better part of Friday elected their chair and vice chairperson, ending the long wait. In a statement released to newsrooms Friday evening, the selection panel chair Nelson Makanda told Kenyans who wish to apply for the positions of chairpersons and commissioners of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) to submit their applications starting tomorrow, Saturday, 1st of February. The panel says for the next 85 days or less, they have undertaken to ensure that they deliver on their mandate of giving Kenyans the next chairperson and members of the IEBC. The panel has further assured Kenyans that they will conduct a transparent process in order to boost confidence for the new electoral body. Chief Justice Martha Koome has called on other arms of government to respect independent institutions, particularly IEBC, and allow it to deliver its constitutional mandate.
Strong institutions are the bedrock of our democracy. The IEBC, like all constitutional commissions, must be around to function independently, free from political or external interference. As a nation, we must remain committed to ensuring that our institutions serve the people, not personal interests.
The beginning of the selection of the new IEBC team has also been met with pressure from the civil society, which is calling on the selection panel to expedite the process but ensure it is above board.
We are also asking all stakeholders, particularly the political class, to respect the process and afford the selection panel ample opportunity to complete its legal mandate so as to safeguard the integrity of that particular process.
The observers drawn from ILOG, Algier and Transparency International also want Parliament to play its part and pass election-related legislation that are pending in Parliament.
What we have insisted is this time round we must have something in place to ensure that campaign financing is regulated. So if that bill is to be considered, it needs to be processed very quickly.
Even as Makanda and his team begin work, IEBC Secretariat have hinted that even with the new IEBC team in place within the 85 days, it will still be a tall order to have boundaries delimitation before the next general election.
27 constituencies do not meet the population quota as set out in Article 89 of the Constitution. Whether they will be lost is a different issue, and that's why I'm saying political consensus would have to be built on the fate of the 27 constituencies.
The boundaries review, if conducted as per the Constitution, could affect 27 constituencies that have not met the population requirement as set out in the review formula. Stephen Letor, Citizen TV.
The Kenya National Bureau of Statistics is faced with a huge dilemma of conducting a repeat census in parts of northeastern Kenya following a court ruling that cancelled the 2019 results in Wajir, Mandera and Garissa counties. According to KNBS Director General MacDonald George Obudho, it will be a Herculean task to conduct the census within the one-year timeline ordered by the court, as it usually takes about 4 years to plan. This is besides the massive resource allocation required. And as Serfina Cheng Oma reports, the Bureau will kickstart technical meetings on Monday next week to discuss the dynamics of implementing the court ruling, even as it consults on legal options.
2 days after the High Court in Garissa cancelled the 2019 census results from Wajir, Mandera and Garissa counties on grounds of discrepancies, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics Director General MacDonald George Obudho has weighed in, describing what he terms as the genesis of the problem.
I will not start from 2019, but I will go back to 2009 census. This is where the problem started. It was noted that the numbers were seriously exaggerated for certain places.
During the launch of Volume 1 of the 2009 census results, the then Minister for Planning and National Development, Wycliffe Oparanya, red-carded results for 8 districts, including Lagdera in Garissa, Mandera East, Mandera Central, Mandera West, Wajir East, Turkana North, Turkana South, and Turkana Central. A move that sparked the first round of a legal battle from leaders from the regions.
It was a court battle for a number of years. It went for a long time. And finally, the Court of Appeal gave the Bureau room to use the smoother numbers. So we are able to smoothen the numbers to conform to the reality. Remember, we are benefiting from the consistency of Kenyan censuses that have been done.
In 2020, another group of petitioners would again move to court to challenge the results of the 2019 census. In their petition, Abdullahi Bashir Sheikh and 24 others accused KNBS and 4 others of overseeing an anomaly, claiming that the 2019 census was not a factual representation of the total population in the region. The petitioners claim that the altering of the population numbers was deliberate and that it impacted their social, economic and political standing as other Kenyans stood to gain more resources.
The 209 numbers that are being referred to, which are being used for the comparison with the 2019 to give a feeling that the numbers, the 2019 numbers are suppressed, are the wrong numbers of 209, which were extremely high.
The 2019 census was the 6th cycle of the enumeration of the population since Kenya got independence. The process, which is conducted after every 10 years, usually begins 4 years before the actual census is done, with the drafting of a census project proposal, which has to be subjected to thorough scrutiny before it is presented to the Ministry of Finance and Planning for budgetary approval. This is then followed by a mapping of the enumeration areas, recruitment and training of staff, and piloting, which is usually undertaken a year before the actual enumeration is done and results published. This makes the directive by the court for KNBS to conduct a fresh census in the affected counties within 1 year a hard nut to crack.
I've called for a technical meeting on Monday where we are going to look at the issues raised by the court and the directive given, get to see how are we going to do it, what kind of resources do we require, what are the timelines that we need to employ so that everything would fall within the 1 year. The other complication we're having is that on our desks, we have started working on how are we going to do census of 2029.
In the meantime, KNBS says it is consulting its legal team on whether to take the route of challenging the High Court's ruling. Safina Cheng Oma, Citizen TV.
Now, the Southern African Development Community, SADC, is currently convening an extraordinary summit of heads of state and government in Harare, Republic of Zimbabwe, to discuss security situation in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The meeting happening in the wake of fears of a fully blown-up regional war after the United Nations warned that M23 rebels were advancing towards Bukavu, South Kivu's largest town. As Seth Olale reports, the humanitarian situation is deteriorating in Goma and its environs, where hundreds of thousands of displaced refugees are camping in makeshift camps.
SADC meeting is being chaired by President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Emmerson Mnangagwa, who is also the chairperson of SADC. The meeting of the heads of state is assessing DRC's situation with an aim of analyzing security situation in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The SADC summit coming hours after the United Nations expressed concerns over M23's advances towards Bukavu, South Kivu's capital and second largest town in eastern DRC after Goma.
We are deeply concerned by the situation in South Kivu particularly, which remains very volatile, with credible reports that the M23 is moving rapidly towards the city of Bukavu.
Hatuna wakati ya kulia, wameua ndugu zetu, wameua mama zetu. Tumesema kulipisha kisasi, wametumikisha bunduki, tutatumikisha bunduki. Kama wametumikisha mipanga, hiyo Mungu ataturumia, tutawalipa kwa mipanga.
Sentiments shared by US President Donald Trump.
And it is a very serious problem, I agree, but I don't think it's appropriate right now to talk about it, but it is a very serious problem.
With the situation in eastern DRC escalating, humanitarian aid is sharply deteriorating. The UN says hundreds of refugees are in dire need of medicine, food and clean water, amid assurance by M23's commander, Corneille Nangaa, who told the journalists in Goma that the rebels were establishing secure humanitarian corridors for displaced people to return home.
The objective of this over-militarization of Gora was clear: to set North Kivu and the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo and the entire great sub-region ablaze.
The ongoing instability in eastern DRC has claimed over 100 lives, including 16 South African troops, injured over 2,000 others, and displaced over 500,000 more since M23 launched its offensive in Goma on Monday. Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
And back here at home, women groups in Kenya have rallied behind Chief Justice Martha Koome, urging the protection of judicial independence amid rising concerns over interference. In a joint statement, Echo Network Africa Foundation, African Women Leaders Network Kenya, Democracy Trust Fund and partner organizations warned against any attempts to destabilize the judiciary. They emphasized that an independent judiciary is crucial for democracy, justice, and the rule of law.
We will open this space for a few.
We see the affront to the judiciary as a danger to the sustainment of the rule of law and safety and security of citizenry.
Lady Justice Martha Koome has a record and legacy of being efficient, focused, accountable, accessible, and incorruptible.
We therefore call upon all women's rights defenders and women's rights organizations, regionally, nationally, and globally, to object to the pulling down of the Honorable Chief Justice Martha Koome and other women leaders.
We urge women across the country and across the political divide to raise their voices and to this ill-intentioned campaign against women's leadership.
Kanja Waruru, brother of Royal Media Services Managing Director Wachira Waruru, has been fondly eulogized as a remarkable man who embraced and lived life to the fullest. Family, friends, and those who knew Kanja described him as a devoted family man and a loyal friend who always put the needs of those around him first. Kanja passed on last week while receiving treatment in India for liver cancer. Citizen TV's Ben Kirui joined mourners and compiled the following story.
The remarkable story of Kanja Waruru, brother of Royal Media Services Limited Managing Director Wachira Waruru, was fondly and extensively shared by family, friends and dignitaries, including Kenya's fourth President Uhuru Kenyatta. during an emotional funeral service at Ridgeways Baptist Church in Nairobi. Just as he was known for uniting family and friends in life, his funeral service brought together those who loved him, reflecting his enduring legacy of togetherness.
He was a husband who loved fiercely, and a father who cared deeply, and a friend who knew no stranger. He had a unique gift for connecting with people, young and old. He was just as comfortable chatting with teenagers in the family as he was sharing very deep and meaningful connections and stories with his pals. Kanja, my love, you may be gone, but you'll never be forgotten.
We'd watch Manchester United play, who'll for sure win the Premier League. My mom had reminded me that the hate of Man City had grown bigger every match. One day, we were watching Man City and Man United play against each other. When Man City scored, Auntie Liz decided to talk about what a wonderful score that was. So me and my dad told her she'd go watch the game from the river.
My father was a great friend and support system to those around him, and he built up many friendships and relationships along the way. For those that knew my dad, know that he was dependable, always checked in, and showed up for them.
Kanja was celebrated for his unwavering love for people and his extraordinary ability to create lasting bonds. Known for his barbecue mastery, he was the heart of family gatherings, delighting loved ones with his grilling skills. Even during the last Christmas holiday, despite silently battling stage 4 liver cancer, he insisted on being his usual self, grilling, laughing, and making sure everyone felt at home.
That means that all the time that Kanja was entertaining us at Chaka, he knew he had a life-threatening disease, but he was just braving it and secretly taking lots of painkillers. This is just how selfless Kanja was.
The last message he sent me was almost, I think, the beginning of January. And the most amazing thing is he never mentioned anything about him being unwell, as we have heard here from Waruru. He was still sending his jokes. He was still keeping everybody's spirit high. And it was only when I bumped into Gary at another function where we lost my cousin that he told me, you know, a friend.
Diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer in December last year, Kanja made a personal decision to delay treatment until January so he could fully enjoy the holiday season with his family and friends. This resilience, described by many as both his greatest strength and his biggest weakness, were at the heart of the tributes.
My brother's experience has important lessons for us who have been left behind. It is now water under the bridge. But I strongly feel that Kanja should have handled this differently. He should have informed us. And the lesson here is that we men are often accused of keeping our struggles to ourselves. Many articles have been written about how men don't share. It is said that men believe that they are expected to be strong, always in control, never showing weakness, and would rather suffer in silence. That is why there's a very popular saying in Kenya, mwanaume ni kujikaza. And that's what Kanja did. Kanja alijikaza, and he didn't need to. He should have opened up. When I meet Kanja again, and I know it will be in heaven, I'll look him in the face and tell him, you should have told me, bro. You should have told me.
His loyal and friendly nature was also celebrated, with longtime friends like Ngari Mahihu, his former classmate, and former President Uhuru Kenyatta sharing cherished memories of his unwavering support and kindness.
Exactly 60 years ago to the month, I joined Thogoto Junior School in Kikuyu in Standard 2. That is when I met Kanja. We soon found out that we were very similar in many ways. We loved to have fun. We were mischievous, naughty, daring, spontaneous. We would literally do anything for a good laugh, only to discover at the end of term our parents had been asked to remove us from the school because we were a bad influence to the other children. That was disaster. But God was on our side. We ended up in the same school again. Nyeri Primary School. But it was a very short-lived hallelujah. Day one, we were interviewed by Muzungu teachers based on our pronunciation of English words. Kanja miraculously passed the interview. I was caught up and I was asked to repeat Standard 3, and now Kanja was in Standard 4. But the year ended, and I got to Standard 4, and guess what? I find Kanja sitting in the corner. He had been heard calling a lizard Richard.
I had the opportunity to first meet Kanja in 1980. And in 1980, I was traveling to America for the very first time to begin my studies there. So one day, with another foreign student, I'm walking back from the library back to the dormitory. And out of the blue, I hear this loud voice shouting, "Hey, where? And he came up and he says, "Are you so-and-so?" So I said, "Yeah." He said, "I was told by my cousin to hold your hand." I'm like, "Oh, so you must be Kanja." "Yes, I'm Kanja." "What are you doing?" "Nothing." "My car is just parked over here. Let's go. Just pick a few things. We go to my place." I looked at this stranger fellow who was just so confident, just telling me to get into his car. I proceeded to do just that. Got into his car, and we traveled to his apartment. And that became my second home, to the extent that one day I took the train and traveled to Jersey City, where he was based. And I happened to arrive there. Kumbe Kanja had already gone to work. So there was, in his apartment block, there was a place, the ground floor, where we used to go and have tea. So I decided I was going to wait for him there. Because I knew eventually, when he came from work, he had to come through this tea place. So he would find me there. So he came and he asked me, eventually, how long have you been? I've been here about a couple of hours. I said, "Hey, look, what you do now, tomorrow morning, I'll sort this out so you don't have to always just wait for me here." The next morning, he made a copy of a key of his apartment, he gave it to me and told me, whenever you're here, and the couch is there, ni kwako nyumbani. And we started a relationship from that day to date.
Kanja's life described as one that had many things to emulate.
Kanja also left us with many lessons, and they've been shared here. There's just one that I would really like to pick. Just look at the picture in front of you. Look at that face. Go through any page of the booklet you're holding and see what Kanja is doing. This was a happy chap. He lived happily to the last day. I believe even in the moment of pain, his smile took care of it.
Much has been said about the remarkable man that was Kanja Waroro. His resilience, kindness, and unwavering spirit left an indelible mark on all who knew him. He will be laid to rest on Saturday at his rural home in Kiganjo, Nyeri County. Ben Kirui, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
And we, the Royal Media Services family, send our deepest condolences to our Managing Director, Wachira Waroro, for the loss of his brother, Kanja. And we indeed continue to pray for the family during this very trying period. We are going to be taking a very short break now. We'll be back with much more. Stay with Friday Night. Protecting lives, HPV vaccine and early screening, key to preventing cervical cancer crisis.
Over 10, 10 over 10, 10 over 10, 10 over 10, 10 over 10.
Enjoy endless entertainment, gaming and music with our 4G router now available at a 25% discounted rate. Grab yours while stocks last at 2,250 shillings. Available at all Safaricom shops, dealers and masoko.com.
Craving an unforgettable African adventure? With View Travel, discover the magic of Africa. Explore Cape Town's beaches, trek Uganda's lush rainforests, marvel at Rwanda's beauty, explore Tanzania's wildlife, unwind in Zanzibar's paradise, cruise Egypt's timeless Nile, or dive into Morocco's vibrant culture. Perfect for leisure, business, school trips, or romance. We craft journeys as unique as you. Tembea Africa na View Travel. Visit viewtravel.com or call and WhatsApp 0703 254 254. View Travel. Dream, explore, discover.
It truly feels good to be home with Safaricom Home. Safaricom Home has introduced internet speed plans for its 5G Wi-Fi internet. Enjoy fast, reliable 5G internet speeds from Kenya's largest 5G network in the country. Now available at 25% off until January 31st, 2025. To get connected, visit My Safaricom app or dial *400#. You can purchase the 5G Wi-Fi router from Safaricom shops, dealer outlets countrywide and masoko.com. Stay connected at home and on the go with Safaricom 5G Wi-Fi internet.
Hii ni ya kupunguza maumivu. Itapunguza pain yako chap chap.
Kaluma. Hata shosha yangu alikuwa anatumia Kaluma.
Unaweza aminia Kaluma kila saa. Kaluma ni timeless.
The weekend is finally upon us, and you know how we do what we do when we do it. On 10 over 10, on the decks, DJ John Fame and DJ KICKIE. Pale kwenye festivals una TikTok nini, baby. Kuna TikTok nini. Ran Scooby will be in the house. John Manavo on Up and 10. Alafu pale kwenye influencer court. Nimrod C nakwambia show inaenda kuwa deadly. Hashtag 10 over 10 on X at official 10 over 10 on Instagram. Twende kwao.
tic-tac, kuna tic-tac nini?
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, SoftCare always stays with you.
New SoftCare Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
SoftCare. Protect your leap.
When your kids learn to share, you're giving them a great start. Prestige Margarine. It all starts with a great start. Now comes in the original and vanilla flavor.
Ruiru Mabati Factory offers the best quality mabati at the most affordable prices. With over 10 years experience, our products have 15 years warranty and are KEBS certified. We manufacture box profile, Europe tile, Jenga tile, corrugated S profile among others in a wide variety of colors. Enjoy our free delivery in just 72 hours. To order, call us on 0111 050 700.
Stubborn stains, Classic Detergent Powder inakuja na suluhisho rahisi. Inatoa uchafu kwa urahisi, gentle kwa mikono na unaipata kwa bei nafuu. Usiwachwe nyuma. Choose Classic. Ng'ara na Classic.
Green leafy vegetables can taste amazing with the right ingredients. Just add hoho, carrots and tomatoes for color, garlic, dania and onions for extra flavor. Whether it's managu, mchicha or kunde, give them a flavor boost.
Afya bora huanza na chakula bora.
Easy. Find a pet-friendly Italian restaurant with outdoor seating nearby and text it to Luca.
Find it real quick. Send it to the click. Wow, the place is sick.
Mume kichwa cha nyumba, si ukae na mke wako tu mwambie pale amefanya makosa ukaweze kurekebisha.
Now let me give you some advice and I'm warning you, the worst thing you can do right now is trust Camila.
Welcome back. Deputy President Kithure Kindiki on Friday took on his predecessor Rigathi Gachagua in his Nyeri backyard, asking him to stop politicking for the sake of development of the Mount Kenya region. Kindiki, the only man from the presidency to set foot in Gachagua's home county of Nyeri since the latter's impeachment, wants Gachagua to cease political activity that Kenya Kwanza loyalists say has seen the rise of political temperatures in the country. As Kamau Mwangi now reports, Kindiki came bearing gifts for the Nyeri populace.
The inspection of the upgrading to bitumen standards of the Endarasha-Watuka Road and the launch of a last-mile electricity connectivity project under REREC, both in Kieni constituency, Nyeri County, provided a platform for Rigathi Gachagua's successor, Professor Kithure Kindiki, to visit the latter's backyard for the first time since Gachagua's impeachment. Kindiki taking on the former DP, who he wants to cease political activity in the region and allow government to work.
Kwa sasa hivi, serikali inajihusisha katika mambo ya kutatua mashida ya wananchi. Rais na wale wote tunafanya kazi katika hii serikali, hatuna nafasi ya ugomvi, ya fitina, ya vita.
The tour by Kindiki that has been seen as one meant to pave way for President William Ruto's imminent return to Nyeri came with gifts for the people of Nyeri. 17 billion Kenya shillings worth of road infrastructure, and 8.7 billion for the Mount Kenya region last mile electricity connections.
It is irresponsible for us to engage in politics now, because if we engage in politics now, the people will suffer. Tunataka tuhakikishe hii miaka imebaki kidogo, tumesukuma mabarabara, tumesukuma maji, tumesukuma stima, tumesukuma ajira ya vijana wetu ili nchi yetu iwe mahali pazuri.
Since Gachagwa's hounding out of office, no one from the presidency had set foot in Nyeri. Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga, Mukurweini Member of Parliament John Kagusha, and their Tetu counterpart Geoffrey Wandeto, who are Gachagwa's allies in the county, skipped the deputy president's event.
Na yale mambo yalikuwa yamekwama kwa sababu ya athari za COVID-19. Sasa rais amekazana, mambo ni dhabiti, sasa ni kusonga na maendeleo.
Kama Mwangi, Citizen TV, Watuka, Kieni, Nyeri County.
The family of Joseph Nganga, a man from Ruiru who has been missing since mid-December 2024, wants the Directorate of Criminal Investigations to expedite investigations and unravel circumstances under which the young man disappeared. According to the family, Joseph disappeared on the 17th of December 2024 while at work within the premises of Modern Furniture Pacific Limited in Ruiru. He disappeared on the same day an inferno raised part of the business. The family held protests at DCI headquarters accusing the management of Modern Furniture Pacific of a cover-up.
A distressed Esther Wambui, the mother of Joseph Nganga, a young man who has not been seen for 6 weeks now. Esther was among protesters who stormed DCI headquarters along Kiambu Road demanding answers from the police on the progress of investigations into the unclear circumstances around her 32-year-old son's disappearance. The family claims Joseph, who was working at Modern Furniture Pacific Limited in Ruiru, went missing on the 17th of December 2024 while at work within the premises of the company. On the day he disappeared, there was a fire that reportedly razed down part of the business premises. The family believes Joseph was burnt in the inferno and there was a clear cover-up plan by the management.
Alipotea Disemba na siku hii hakumpata. Nataka haki yake nichukue nipeleke pahali nimempata.
Walisema baadaye kuna kitu waliona inakaa umbwa. Swali yetu ni hii umbwa waliweza kujua aje hii ni umbwa? Walienda labu gani? Watupeleke huko. Na wakienda huku labu, walienda na nani wa familia? Ndo wajue ni umbwa.
We visited Modern Furniture Pacific Limited in Ruiru and there was confirmation of a fire incident at the premises on the said date. However, they remain adamant that no life was lost in the inferno. The furniture shop says the bones recovered were of a dog as documented by crime scene investigators from Ruiru Police Station.
Wanaitwa watu wa forensic walikuwa huku. So wamefanya kila kitu wanafanya, lakini report ndio bado tunagoja so that tukue na uhakika Jose ako wapi. Jose alishomekea ndani, Jose ako nje, tujue tu Jose ako wapi.
But Nganga's family is not convinced. They want investigators who visited the scene to come clear on what their findings from the crime scene were.
Hata kama ni jitu tutazeka.
Police at Ruiru Police Station insist they are still pursuing the matter as a missing person report, a direction the family does not want the probe to take. Franklin Wala, Citizen TV.
National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula says the Health Committee has been tasked with getting to the root of the problems that have plagued the rollout of the Social Health Authority. Wetangula pledged Parliament would do its part in ensuring seamless service delivery under SHA. The Speaker spoke in Huisero, Kakamega County, a day after MPs on a retreat in Naivasha took Ministry of Health officials to task over the bottlenecks experienced by patients seeking health services.
Tumekuwa na maneno makali jana katika Naivasha katika kongamano ya wabunge, na nimeamuru kamati ya afya ya bunge iketi na viongozi katika wizara yale mambo madogo madogo na makubwa makubwa ambayo inasaidia kuleta maneno ambayo si mzuri katika utekelezaji wa SHA Taifa Care, lazima tuyanyoroshe ili wananchi wapate manufaa kutoka hii sheria.
And a big win here for Gloria Sakwa from Bungoma, who has emerged the third winner of the Vukan January promotion by Aviator on Shabiki.com, taking home 500,000 shillings as the highest multiplier winner. This brings the total amount awarded in the promotion to 1.65 million. The promotion, which concludes today, is aimed at rewarding loyal Shabiki Aviator fans throughout January.
Nimefurahi sana.
Gloria Sakwa, a farmer from Chwele, Bungoma County, is smiling all the way to her Shabiki wallet after winning $500,000 in the Aviator promotion. A doting mother of 3, Gloria discovered the promotion on television and decided to give it a try. To her surprise, on her very first attempt, she landed a life-changing win.
Niliona kwa TV, nikaona watu wakicheza wakisema wameshinda. Nikaamua na mimi tena nijaribu. Sijui niseme Mungu alitenda. Mungu amenitendea mema.
Gloria placed a stake of 50 shillings, which earned her 25,000 shillings, winning the 500,000 shillings as the highest multiplier, bringing her total winnings to 525,000 shillings.
Nitaendelea kucheza, tena naweza shinda. Natamani niendelee kushinda zaidi.
Gloria now joins Beatrice Wangu from Eldoret, who won a similar amount earlier. Both winners plan to enhance their families' lives with their winnings.
Nataka kuinua biashara. Biashara yangu mimi nausaga tu matunda. Si nimebarikiwa.
Huwa natamani sana kufanya biashara. Kiwa nimepata hii pesa, nimejua sasa naenda kufanya biashara.
Shabiki.com, a leading gaming platform, continues to provide numerous opportunities and rewards for its gamers.
Mzee anafanya kazi ya bodaboda. Hata hawezi jua ni mimi. Nimejisikia mimi ni pilot wa Aviatorshabiki.com.
Na nyinyi mko nyumbani, mnajaribu na mtashinda tu.
Steve Shitera, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Cervical cancer remains a major health concern in Kenya, but the good news is it is largely preventable. With early screening, vaccination, and lifestyle adjustments, women can significantly reduce their risk. As we wrap up Cervical Cancer Awareness Month, let's hear more on this topic from Dr. Marion Diana, obstetrician gynecologist. Thank you so much for joining us in studio.
Thank you.
We're talking about trying to reduce the risk of getting cervical cancer. So in terms of lifestyle and the lifestyle changes that one would need to adopt, let's begin with the risks in terms of lifestyle and the changes that would really be critical towards protecting yourself or preventing yourself from this eventuality.
Thank you, Lillian. So when we talk about the risks, we talk about risks that allow the HPV for you to be exposed to it. And we are also talking about the risk that allows the HPV to persist and become an infection such that now it becomes a problem. So the risk to get HPV is basically sexual intercourse. So cervical cancer is a sexual related cancer, which means that sex is a big thing when it comes to cervical cancer. That is when you get exposed to HPV. But we do have lifestyle activities that would make you have this persisting in your body. One of these is cigarette smoking. And what cigarette smoking is that it really makes your body not fight. And if your immunity is compromised, then you are able to have this virus persisting and therefore changing to cause cervical cancer. Other things that would cause that is things around immunosuppression. So people with diabetes, and largely diabetes, other than being something you get as a genetic disease, you can also get it because of lifestyle. So we really encourage people to make sure that they work around preventing anything that will work against your immunity. So if your immunity is compromised, then the risk to have that virus persisting in your body is higher, as opposed when you immunity is good. So things around nutrition, very important to have good nutrition, very important to exercise, but over and above all, it's very important to make sure you get vaccinated.
Right. Before we get into more on this, Dr. during our previous conversation, a lot of the men were asking about the HPV and their exposure to it. You know, asking, because this is somehow is largely centered around women, but the HPV, as we do know it, largely transmitted through unprotected sexual intercourse, and therefore the men were asking how they too can protect themselves from either getting this HPV virus or transmitting it altogether.
So basically, if we talk about preventing to get HPV, it's largely an impossible answer to give, mainly because from a particular age, naturally, as a human being, you're going to be sexually active. And as long as you're sexually active, then the risk for contacting HPV goes high. But one of the things we do encourage is things around avoiding having multiple sexual partners, because that is now how you pick the various serotypes of HPV. And so things around being faithful, things around using condoms, and such kind of things are the things we encourage. But basically, we cannot tell people not to have sex. We just tell them to have sex in a way that they can reduce the risk, but not necessarily stay away from the HPV.
So we've talked about vaccination previously, and now going into the regular screening and all of that. Let's talk about the early signs and symptoms that should be a warning sign that perhaps something could be amiss.
So largely, cervical cancer in the initial stages, it's asymptomatic. And what does that mean? That you could literally not know. No symptoms whatsoever. By the time you're having symptoms, then we are actually talking about an already existing lesion or cervical cancer itself, because cervical cancer starts from precancerous stages. So precancerous means then that we can't really know until we do the screening. But now the cancer itself will initially, and most people will come because of bleeding after coitus. So they'll say, I had some contact bleeding, I had this I had this bleeding just after sex, and I don't know what's going on. Some will have an abnormal discharge, usually watery. And this discharge is something you've never experienced before, and you realize it's excessive and it's foul smelling sometimes. When it's really advanced, some women will have pelvic pain, and pelvic pain will come in terms of lower abdominal pains or lower backaches, or sometimes they'll even feel the pain around their thighs, and they will say, I have this very persistent lower backache, I don't know what's going on. More than that, it can now go forward for you to actually have obvious bleeding. So most women will come saying, I have this bleeding which is not usual, or I have this abnormal discharge, or I have this...
This is at the advanced stage.
Yes, or I have this pain. But in the real late stages, it can even come with other complications. So the complications is what really causes more problems, because the position of the cervix and a lesion growing there, it will go forward to your bladder, and it will cause you problems in terms of obstructing your ureters in a way that you are having backflow of urine to your kidney, something we call hydroureter or sometimes hydronephrosis. And with that, you can have kidney failure, and you'll have to go through dialysis. So just that relationship of the cervix with your bladder and the urinary system, that brings that consequence. If you go to the rectum, the same thing, that can grow backwards towards the rectum. You can get fistulas, whereby now those areas are communicating, and you start having leakages of urine, leakages of stool. More than that, this cancer can go to your lungs. You can start coughing blood. It can be very difficult for you to breathe. Sometimes we need to give you oxygen. And when the disease starts to spread, it can go to your brain. You could go into a coma. It could go to your liver, and you can start having yellowness of your eyes, or something we call jaundice. So therefore, the moment the disease starts to go to the surrounding organs. Now you start having complications because the organs are now getting deceased.
Right. And Dr. You have previously stressed that all this is preventable because this is a cancer that's 100% preventable, yes, and that is also curable. So in terms of prevention, as we wrap up, let's talk about that, as well as, you know, in the unlikely or unfortunate situation where you find yourself having these debilitating effects of the advanced cervical cancer, how to manage them and the support resources that are available in this country.
So if we start quickly around prevention, we have very many options. Some could look like they are a bit affordable, some are quite costly, but the government is actually working to make some of these services available. So the one that is in the National Cancer Control Program is screening, where you do acetic acid. It is stained on your cervix. The provider looks. If it takes up that acetic acid, then you will be told that you have a lesion, and the lesion you can actually be tested and treated. Mm-hmm. There's something we call cryotherapy, where you go, they see there's a lesion, they freeze it. So they treat that, and you go home. Right. And then you can continue with your screening. Or you can go, and then they'll tell you, no, this one we can just do a loop excision, and we are good to go. Mm-hmm. So other than the acetic acid, they can also check using something we call Lugol's iodine. And they check and they see what is happening around here. Your cells will behave differently when they are stained with that, if they have already abnormal cells. Then the commonest that we keep on talking about is the pap smear, and the pap smear will come with a cost. If you remember our last conversation, we said it has to be sent to the pathologist. Yeah. It will come with cost. It will also have issues around accessibility. Uh-huh. Then we have the HPV testing direct. You test that DNA. And the beautiful thing about science and its advances is that right now you can even do self-testing. Mm-hmm. This HPV kit can be availed to you, and you can be able to collect the sample. The instructions are very clear, and you take that sample back to the lab and you get your results. Right. Now, the beautiful thing about the HPV DNA testing is that it's highly sensitive. Mm-hmm. And if it identifies these high-risk DNA serotypes, then your follow-up is different, and it can quickly move on. And this HPV DNA, we can take another 5 years before we screen you again. Uh-huh. So if we look at what is it we would like to see a scenario whereby women can have easy access to testing for HPV DNA. Right. Because for sure, if my HPV DNA is negative, I already know I don't have the exposure. Mm-hmm. But if it is positive, I will have to go ahead and check if I have abnormal cells, right, and move that direction like that. So far, what we have what the national program is providing for accessibility, and we usually say that one test that you are able to access, mm-hmm, please go for it. Right. Yes.
Many thanks for your time. Dr. Marion Diana is an obstetrician gynecologist. There is hope. There is, of course, treatment options available, but the thing is vaccination. Vaccination also remains one of the, you mentioned previously, vaccination remains an option even for women that are already sexually active. Yes. All right. Mm-hmm. Many thanks. We're taking a short break. We're back with more in just a bit. The country's inflation rate remains below the central bank's target range of 5%, offering room for the regulator to reduce interest rates next week.
Tumegola. 2024. Gen Z walipeleka watu bio. Ubina show life. Nimeshika pesa kidogo, nikaweka Ibagaro. Watoto wamekuwa wakubwa. The only thing that has remained constant ni hii mabati.
Kwa nyumba maridadi na mabati ya kudumu, tumia Zinco Mabati. Zinco Mabati, where roofing meets perfection. Call 0758 222288. We deliver for free countrywide.
Lakini vile hii ekonomi imetufinya, ilinibidi kubadilisha sabuni nikatumia ingine rahisi. Bala, ilibidi nioshe kila kitu mara 2. Sikuwa na otherwise, nikarudia Ariel.
Ariel, usafi bora kwa mwosho mmoja tu.
Royal Mabati Factory Limited, your ultimate destination for guaranteed quality roofing solutions. Enjoy our Lipa Pole Pole plan. Pay 40%, get same-day production. Kickstart your 2025 with our New Year's offers. Enjoy free delivery across Kenya to your doorstep. Call us on 0722 638383. Order today at www.royalmabati.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, SoftCare always stays with you.
New SoftCare Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
SoftCare. Protect your leap.
The most trusted toothpaste for kids.
So, most kids use this toothpaste, right?
Right.
Then, why do 7 out of 10 kids have cavities, sir? Because whatever this toothpaste has for cavity protection, isn't enough. Double Herbal contains clove. My mother says it contains eugenol, which is 100% effective in cavity protection. Look, no cavity. Where there's clove, there's no cavity.
At RFH Healthcare Cancer Center, we walk with you on your journey to healing. With a dedicated team of passionate doctors and advanced technology, we provide world-class care. From chemotherapy to cutting-edge PET CT and SPECT CT scans, our state-of-the-art radiotherapy and brachytherapy ensures targeted and effective care. Experience hope with our innovative lutetium therapy, bringing healing closer to you. We accept SHA and all major medical insurance covers. RFH Healthcare Cancer Center Ruai, where compassion meets innovation.
For a better and secure future, education is a necessity. That's why Kiharu MP Dede Nyoro, through Kiharu and GCDF, has launched Kiharu Masomo Bora program to help day school students, where students will pay 1,000 shillings per term. Students will have porridge and lunch served in school. And this program will also help in building school infrastructure and provision of revision materials. Kiharu Masomo Bora with Honorable Dede Nyoro.
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, SoftCare always stays with you.
New SoftCare Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
SoftCare. Protect your leap.
Enjoy endless entertainment, gaming and music with our 4G router, now available at a 25% discounted rate. Grab yours while stocks last at 2,250 shillings. Available at all Safaricom shops, dealers and masoko.com.
This is me at Stanbic Private Banking. What does it feel like? It's investing skillfully,
It's planning wisely. It's living joyfully. It's banking easily. Visit www.stanbic.co.ke. Stanbic Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
Welcome back. Let's talk business. Kenya's inflation rate rose to 3.3% in January 2025, up from 3% in December 2024. According to the latest data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, KNBS attributed the slight increase to rising prices of essential commodities, including food and fuel. The Bureau noted that fluctuations in global and local markets contributed to the price surge impacting household budgets. Despite the rise, inflation remains within manageable levels, with analysts monitoring trends in the cost of living and potential government intervention to stabilize prices. Kenya's inflation rate has now stayed below the central bank's 5% midpoint target for the 8th consecutive month, creating room for a possible interest rate cut next week. East African Breweries Limited has posted a 2% increase in net revenue, reaching 67.9 billion shillings for the first half of the financial year, despite ongoing macroeconomic challenges. The group's profit after tax also saw a significant boost of 20%, climbing to 8.1 billion shillings, primarily driven by currency appreciation and improved operational efficiencies, as Jimmy Mbogo reports.
A combination of lower inflation, a stable exchange rate, and overall stable macroeconomic conditions supported EABL's half-year performance. The Brewers reported an 8.1 billion shillings net profit, marking a 20% increase in the earnings compared to the same period last year. This growth was backed by a 2% rise in sales, which totaled 67.9 billion shillings compared to the previous period. Despite the positive growth, the company remains concerned about distressed consumer income.
This sustained performance was fueled by growth across all our markets, with Kenya achieving 9% growth, Uganda delivered 3% growth, and Tanzania was an impressive performer at 16% growth, all supported by continuous investments in innovative product offerings, impactful marketing campaigns, and bolstered by route-to-market efficiencies.
Inflation, I think, is a big win across across all the three countries. Really contained. The exchange rate is quite stable, and of course that is helping us in our business, especially from a costs of doing business perspective. I think if you look at that picture, it was a good enabling environment for doing business for us. However, having said that, I think from a consumer perspective, we know that the consumer has a depressed wallet because of too many things and too many demands from their pockets.
EABL has also recorded a 5 billion shillings reduction in its total debt. The board has further recommended a 2 shillings and 50 cents dividend per share, reflecting confidence in the company's long-term stability.
We are paying dividend out of real cash, and this just shows that our business started out with 10.4 billion in cash. We generated 22.7 billion, 2.7 billion above last year. We have used that to pay down interest costs of 3.8 billion, income taxes of 2.6 billion. We purchased fixed assets of 3.5 billion, and financing activities, of which 4.8 of that is the borrowings paid.
As the brewer navigates a volatile economic environment marked by high input costs, including the rising prices of raw materials such as barley, sorghum, and packaging materials, Karuku emphasized that the company's focus on the second half of the year will be on increasing efficiency and managing costs to cushion against these challenges.
So we are seeing some better prices for ethanol, as rains have been generous, and therefore there's a lot of sugarcane being grown. So ethanol is a positive story, and that has indeed helped our business. And looking into the future, the net effect could be more. I don't know.
Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Kenya Power has reported a profit after tax of nearly 10 billion shillings for the half-year period ending 31st December 2024. The performance was driven by increased electricity sales, lower cost of sales, and reduced finance costs, all supported by the stability of the Kenya shilling against major foreign currencies. Additionally, the company declared its first interim dividend in 9 years, setting it at 20 cents per share. Jasmine Wamboi reports.
Kenya Power has managed to sustain its profitability streak well into the first half of the current financial year with a profit after tax of 9.9 billion shillings.
I know there were some who are really doubting whether the profit we declared last year was genuine.
The performance was driven by increased electricity sales, lower power costs for Kenya Power from electricity generators, and reduced loan expenses thanks to the stability of the Kenyan shilling.
Criminals are not the ones who can produce a kind of results. Criminals are not the ones who can, turn a company where, as we are reporting today, it's over 30 times the kind of profit that we made just a year ago for half-year period.
Despite the results, the company remains cautious about forex exposure risks.
We have very specific strategies around mitigating forex into the future, and these are in terms of ensuring that we do not engage in any commercial borrowing that is in foreign currency, because our revenue is predominantly in Kenya shillings.
To enhance efficiency and increase revenue, the company is hoping to capitalize on the anticipated lifting of the moratorium on new power generation contracts to increase electricity sales as peak demand rises. The country has seen demand peaks of up to 2,304 gigawatt hours this year, against an indicative firm capacity of 2,344 gigawatt hours.
This is really to debunk the myth that at times so many Kenyans have been sold to, that there is too much power, excess power in Kenya. And we don't know why Kenya Power is not dispatching all that power. The truth of the matter is, this is the reality. These are actual figures. And if you look at that, you can never operate a grid at a level where what we call the reserve margin is almost not there. It can never happen. That is a very high risk that the grid is exposed to.
The company's board of directors has announced an interim dividend of 20 cents per share.
Even as Kenya Power continues to make positive strides into financial sustainability, emerging issues such as fraud, vandalism and wayleave maintenance continue to bite into the utility's profitability. Jasmine Wamboi, Citizen TV, Nairobi.